Oh, yelled the Both. You came crashing back into your damned world like a coked out Saudi in a Boeing 767, and you hit the ground running. People are going nuts. This place is on fire. Your agents come a-marching the streets like a bitch. Schizo-egalitarians living out thousands of dreams. No empty space, just millions of political screams. Just go look at the talking faces on the news today. Those suited flesh puppets don't know what to say. Your people speak, every city glows in firelight, because free TVs and liquor for participants every night. Too many people, but not enough men. And I'm about to become your biggest problem. Rumor has it, someone pissed you off, you old Archon. You were screaming bloody murder in the sky, and most of Houston heard you that night. But the one you're looking for isn't in Houston. I'm right here in glorious Las Vegas, hidden among the ranks of degenerates and high rollers, the suburbanites and Latinos, the tourists, and the real estate moguls. But you come here, you ugly bastard. Why did you leave us here on this dirt plain? That's not very loving, God. But it's alright. We'll work with what we have. And if we're dealt a shitty hand, I guess it's time to throw the cards across the pit and stop playing the game. Grab the dealer by his nuts and tell him, I'm not having it. If you want to play games with my soul and involve yourself with this great scandal, I'm going to shove my fist up your entitled, treacherous ass. It's come time I put my malt liquor down and wait for that darkness you have planned for me. What you've prepared is no surprise. I've read about the evil you wish to cast upon me. But what's left on this dystopian, rage-filled water park you built for us besides my total resentment towards you? I'll fight you alone if needed. I have no unity with the people, for the people scream your name. But not me. Like their favorite fast food franchise, the people are quick to run back to their preferred political ideologies when their nasty impulses demand that satisfying taste of virtuous fat. Now that so many people have lost their spiritual power, they dive deep into the dumpster of endless political theories, hoping for a come-up of a counterfeit power to replace that which they have lost. If there's one thing we've learned about governments and ruling powers of the last 1,000 years, it's that they come and go almost as fast as they are created. And it's no different today as we watch the deep state, the globalists, the red revolutions, and all of their subgenre political affiliates, microcultures, partisan and bipartisan foundations, and lingering fringe extremists clash with one another in order to gain some sort of notoriety within whichever superpower that takes control. While it's clear the reason we dumb little people leech onto political movements is to fill our hunger for power, land, and resources, what is the goal of the ideological ruler which collaborates the funding, influence, and action needed to accelerate these agendas? Their chief is blind. Because of his power and his ignorance and his arrogance, he said, with his power, it is I who am God. There is none apart from me. When he said this, he sinned against the entirety. And this speech got up to the incorruptibility. Then there was a voice that came forth from incorruptibility, saying, You are mistaken, Samael, which is God of the blind. His dots became blind, and having expelled his power, that is, the blasphemy he had spoken, he pursued it down to chaos and the abyss, his mother, and the instigation of Pistis Sophia. And she established each of his offspring in conformity with its power, after the pattern of the realms that are above, for by starting from the invisible world, the visible world was invented. Like the blind chief leads his offspring, each given their role and their reign for power, our worldly rulers do the same, the chiefs being those whose names are never revealed, and their offspring being those who carry the burden of perpetuating the overall goal. The Bill Gates, royal family, Rothschilds, George Soroses of this world, and the goal of maintaining the ultimate illusion of power because the chief of this world, like Samael, is blind in his inferior role as the leader of this world to the existence of the power of the One All. The role of politicians, military, police, banks, credit companies, the education system, media, and most importantly, the people, is most important for the ruling forces above us because the participation of these people is what drives the chief force's illusion of ultimate power and gives motion to his offspring's agendas, thus giving them purpose and a reason for the people to believe that they are needed for our survival. Agendas so well thought up and falsely plotted against one another that the people will beg for them. And the carnal woman took from the tree and ate, and she gave to her husband as well as herself. And these beings that possessed only a soul ate, and their imperfection became apparent in their lack of knowledge, and they recognized that they were naked of the spiritual element, and took fig leaves and bound them upon their loins. Then the chief ruler came, and he said, "Adam, where are you?" For he did not understand what had happened. And Adam said, "I heard your voice and was afraid because I was naked, and I hid." The ruler said, "Why did you hide? Unless it is because you have eaten from the tree from which alone I commanded you not to eat, and you have eaten." Adam said, "The woman that you gave me, she gave to me and I ate." And the arrogant ruler cursed the woman. The woman said, "It was the snake that led me astray, and I ate." They turned to the snake and cursed its shadowy reflection, powerless, not comprehending that it was a form they themselves had modeled. From that day, the snake came to be under the curse of the authorities, until the all-powerful man was to come. That curse fell upon the snake. They turned to their Adam and took him and expelled him from the garden along with his wife, for they have no blessing, since they too are beneath the curse. Moreover, they threw mankind into great distraction and into life of toil, so that their mankind might be occupied by worldly affairs and might not have the opportunity of being devoted to the Holy Spirit. By no means should the people have this great knowledge of their outer worldly connection to God and the corruption of the powers that rule over them in this world. Their greatest fear isn't that they become dethroned from their high positions, for the positions only exist by them, but that people become awakened to their great plot, which is spread throughout every land and every ideology available through the policies that have been put forth, past, present, and future. Like Adam, we came into this world under the assumption we would live and die under servitude to the ruling power. They have so much confidence in this that they assign us our social security numbers, or national numbers, in which their system invests into with the expectation that our compliance and efforts in the system grow their establishment of power, either financially or through ideological expansion efforts which reinforce their power. We are expected to become tax cows, enhanced through our participation in universities, and enroll into expensive degree programs, leading to higher incomes. Or we're offered entrepreneur opportunities which exploit our creativity and money management skills, also through taxation, but at a higher rate. And for those who have no desire to participate in these mentioned systems, The powers that be offer the chance for us to become frontline pawns to protect their ruling positions. Police, military, ATF, FBI, NSA, and the other alphabet organizations funded through taxation gives perhaps the most risk-free opportunity to serve the rulers. But for those who wish to live among the protections offered by them and avoid paying the required taxes and putting all efforts of labor and keeping all profits for themselves, there has been a criminal justice system that focuses on punishing these people. That's why drug crimes and tax evasion can lead to sentences similar in length to those convicted of murder. To not give to the rulers is the same as striking them, for the minds of the world leaders are as arrogant and filled with madness as the Archons who influence them. Similarly to Adam and Eve, those awakened to the truth will eventually be cast out of the garden of protected civilization into the mysteries of wilderness. Those who choose not to participate in the system will either become homeless, join the ranks of the underworld organizations, die from lack of resources, or make their way to the rural areas and establish a life off-grid. It is here the threat of the rulers become the least of concern, and man is forever cursed by the forces of nature and his own nature. It's where the reward of freedom is met by its consequences. It is where man meets a loving, righteous, glorious death. It is here we discover the true God. But when our father, Adam, and Eve went out of the garden, they trod the ground on their feet, not knowing they were treading. And when they came to the opening of the gate of the garden, and saw the broad earth spread before them, covered with stones large and small, and with sand, they feared and trembled, and fell on their faces, from the fear that came upon them, and they were as dead. Because whereas they had hitherto been in the garden land, beautifully planted with all manner of trees, they now saw themselves in a strange land, which they knew not and had never seen. Will you awaken to the truth like our worldly father did?